Okay, good morning. Good morning.
Do you have to mute their phone by hitting your mute button?
Good morning, everyone. Can you please press *6 to mute your button, to mute your phone? I will start the roll call. So if you can, please press *6 on your phone to mute.
Or hit the mute button on your phone.
Or if you're using a cell phone or the phone, there's a mute button, and it's a microphone one. So if you can press that one, that will be great. Thank you. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, Acadia.
Present.
Acadia 2.
Present.
Andover A.
Absent.
Andover B.
Present.
Andover C.
Present.
Andover D.
Present.
Andover E.
Present.
Andover F.
Present.
Andover G.
Absent.
Andover H.
Present.
Andover I.
Present.
Bedford A.
Present.
Bedford B.
Absent.
Bedford C.
Present.
Bedford D.
Absent.
Bedford E.
Present.
Bedford F.
Absent.
Bedford G.
Present.
Bedford H.
Present.
Bedford J.
Present.
Brookfield.
Present.
Cambridge A.
Present.
Cambridge B.
Present.
Cambridge C.
Present.
Cambridge E.
Absent.
I'm not going. Cambridge F.
Absent.
Sir, if you don't mind, can you press *6 because I can hear myself. Cambridge H.
Present. Or I'm sorry, absent.
Absent, you said right?
Absent.
Cambridge I.
Absent.
Cambridge J.
Absent.
Cambridge K.
Absent.
Cambridge L.
Absent.
Cambridge M.
Present.
Canton Court D.
Present.
Corinth.
Present.
Devonshire.
Present.
Wow. Good president isn't doing a thing.
Dorchester A.
Present.
Dorchester B.
Present.
Dorchester C.
Absent.
Dorchester D.
Absent.
Edinburgh. Or Edinburgh.
Present.
Fairborn.
Present.
Fairfield A.
Present.
Fairfield B.
Present.
Fairfield C.
Present.
Fairfield D.
Present.
Fairfield E.
Present.
Fairfield F.
Absent.
Fairfield G.
Absent.
Fairfield H.
Present.
Gloucester A.
Present.
Gloucester B.
Present.
Gloucester C.
Absent.
Gloucester D.
Present.
Gloucester E.
Absent.
Present.
No.
Gloucester E, present.
You can't be
Can't be
present.
in present. You had to turn in your
Proxy.
proxy.
Well, I'm in the meeting.
I know, but if you want to fill out a proxy, we can give you one at the end of the meeting and consider you present.
Very good.
And then I need to ask him for his vote as well later.
No, we'll take his vote.
Okay. You have a proxy? Okay.
No, do you have a?
Do you have one?
I think I can ask one to bring one. Gloucester E, right? Okay. Gloucester F,
Is
Gloucester F,
present.
Gloucester G,
Absent.
Gloucester H,
Absent.
Gloucester J,
Absent.
Gloucester K,
Absent.
Gloucester L,
Present.
Gloucester M,
Present.
Gloucester N.
Absent.
Gloucester P,
Present.
Grantham,
Present.
Highgate A,
Absent.
Highgate B,
Present.
Highgate C,
Present.
Highgate D,
Present.
Highgate E,
Present.
Highgate F,
Present.
Highgate 2,
Present.
Highgate 3,
Absent.
Highgate 4,
Present.
Huntington,
Present.
Idlewood,
Present.
Inverness,
Present.
Jameson,
Present.
Kensington,
Present.
Knowles 1,
Absent.
Knowles 2,
Absent.
Knowles 3,
Present.
Lancaster 1,
Absent.
Lancaster 2,
Present.
Lancaster 3,
Wait a minute, let me get caught up here.
sorry,
Lancaster 3 is present.
Lancaster 4,
Is present. No, absent.
Lancaster 4 absent,
Yes.
Lyndhurst,
Present.
Manchester 1,
This is a 2. Absent.
Manchester 2,
Present.
Manchester 3,
Absent.
Manchester 4,
Present.
Maplewood,
Present.
Nantucket 1,
Present.
Nantucket 2,
Present.
Nantucket 3,
Present.
Nantucket 4,
Present.
Nantucket 5,
Absent.
Oakley Green,
Present.
Oxford 1,
Absent.
Oxford 2,
Present.
Portsmouth,
Present.
Princeton,
Present.
Quail Pass,
Absent.
Radisson 1,
Present.
Radisson 2,
Absent.
Richmond,
Present.
Somerset.
Present.
Sir, if you don't mind, please press star 6. Again, I'm echoing. Thank you, please. Southampton 1,
Absent.
Southampton,
With a qualification, please, Madam Secretary.
ma'am.
Yes, we just had our change of leadership for the board and I'm the new president. If I could please email my proxy to you, I would send that in to be present.
It's too late.
It's too late.
The due date is passed.
Okay, so the previous person suspended the proxy, but I'm not allowed to?
He's here in person.
No, Southampton 1.
Okay.
Tom.
It's here in person.
Comes with Gloucester.
That's in Gloucester E, yeah. Okay.
So who was?
What association are you, ma'am? Southampton 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, she's still with the Southampton 1.
When did the change take place?
Do you know when did you, the board
Change.
member took place? When did you change? When did you have your annual meetings?
February 11th.
She had time.
Yes, ma'am. I think,
Yeah, just say, we'll make sure next time that,
Yeah, we'll make sure next time,
but the start of the meeting ends the proxy term, so.
The start of the meeting ends the proxy turn-in.
Continue.
Very good, thank you.
you're welcome. Southampton 2,
Present.
Tremont 1,
Present.
Tremont 2,
Present.
Villeroy,
Present.
Worlington,
Present.
and Yorkshire.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum of 72.2% with 3,988 units with 78 associations.
Okay, thank you.
You did not call Princeton.
I did call Princeton, ma'am.
Okay, I didn't hear it.
And Princeton was,
Princeton
Present.
is present. And then the next.
Just, we need to start telling people what's happening at home.
Okay, we're good there. And then,
Now call the meeting to order. And I'd like to rise to pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For those of you who have not muted your phone, would you please mute your phone because you interfere with other people being able to hear what is going on during the call. You can either use the mute button on your phone or you can hit *6.
Jack, 34 of the 54 are not muted.
The majority of you, can you tell if they're muted on their phone?
I don't know who they are, it just gives me...
No, can you, Ginger, can you tell
Yes.
if they're muted, not hitting *6, but just mute their phone?
No.
No, you can't.
No.
And
34 are not muted.
they're not *6 is my question to her.
They have their phone muted.
If they hit the mute button on their phone, do you know that?
I don't know. Let me try.
She's gonna check.
No, that's a,
*6 is.
just about.
Because it's not in her
You'll
system.
track
Well,
it.
It should be the
System
same.
in the
Star
computer.
6 or mute, the same.
You won't be able to track it,
You can't track it.
but.
Well, Ginger, while you're checking that, I believe the first item of business is the approval of the draft rescheduled approved minutes from January 22nd. We don't really care about the $1,220. Would you mute your phone, please? Ginger, would you have them mute everybody? Have them mute everyone.
There you
They're all
go.
muted? Thank you. Everyone's phone has been muted automatically because we have individuals who will not mute their phones and interfere with other people being able to hear the call. You may have to, you have a question at a later time, you may have to call back in if the *6 to unmute your phone does not work. Was it on the proxy for the vote, for the minutes? Do you have the results, Lee?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Maldell.
Someone's not working.
Ginger, why do we have people still on?
I'm asking, I'm not sure. He got him,
You got them?
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, for approval of the minutes, we have you want me to go?
Go on.
Okay, we have 75 associations who voted yes, with 98.9% with a count of 3,816. And we have 1 association who voted no with 1.1% with 42 counts. So the total will be 3,000. So we have
It's passed.
it passed.
Is she able to tell me to know so I don't?
So
Who voted, what association voted no?
Huntington voted no, and we have Lyndhurst who abstained.
Okay. And how do I do abstain on here?
There's nothing. It's blank.
Just draw a line through it.
Okay. I think I'm good.
Thank you, Mabel.
Thank you.
Therefore, we will go to the manager reports, and I'll turn the meeting over to Keith to do his management report. In addition, when Keith completes his management report, Ryan Rohrer, who is the landscape specialist, is here, and we wanted him to have an opportunity to speak to the members about what he is doing and how his job is working out. So as soon as Keith is done with his management report, Ryan, I would invite you to come up and speak.
Morning, everybody. It's the First Service Management Report for the membership meeting. Just a quick note, our lobby is still open, even under the COVID guidelines. We just asked to have everybody have continued patience and respect for the guidelines. We've had some folks coming in the last couple of weeks with no masks, coughing, a lot of buildup in the lobby. So we're just trying to make sure that everybody's staying safe in the lobby when they're coming in, because if staff gets affected, for us, it can affect the whole operations on our standpoint. So we're just wanting to make sure we're staying safe and people are coming in the proper attire. Just a note there to start the meeting. A couple nice new additions. We did get a new drop box. Thanks to Vesta, they put a new drop box for all the maintenance fees and alteration forms outside of the 1904 building. So if you're noticing a smaller, nicer, sturdier mailbox, it's out there and it's working great. We're going to have some new signage made up for that. So again, we encourage the use of that drop box for really anything alteration forms, notes, letters, maintenance fees, and so on. So continuing on with administration, these are numbers for the month of January. We had 46 transfers completed and 37 leases. So again, we still continue to see an increase in sales and leases even through the month of February. The office took 3,500 phone calls, and we had about 1,500 walk-ins. So the foot traffic has increased over the last few months. We have continually updated emergency contact forms. We did 275 in the month of January. We encourage all the members to tell their residents, if they change their phone number or email, please let us know and contact the First Service office so we can get that updated. That's important on multiple fronts. Annual meetings, all the annual meetings have been completed for the season, so everything is resolved. And again, we thank the way the meeting rooms are set up and the proxy sent in from all the residents to try to keep those meetings limited due to the room size. So I think it worked out very well this year, and we do appreciate everybody's participation within those meetings. And all those meetings, all the budgets were also approved, and they've been uploaded into our system. You'll be getting the new coupon books in the first week to middle of March to start the new April 1st maintenance payment. So hopefully you'll be able to send in your last coupon for March, and then you'll be getting your new coupon book in the middle of March. Only if you're on, only if you get coupons booked before. If you're on ClickPay, which is the automatic payment, you're gonna get a one-page letter that says, which the fee has been adjusted to, and then what will take effect April 1st. And again, we encourage everybody to try to jump on and use ClickPay, which again is an automatic payment. It works very efficiently and helps not to miss any payments, especially with the recent mailing delays in the last couple of months. Insurance, the next couple of weeks, the insurance will have renewal policies and information for the committee and for the board. So there'll be some changes and some additional meetings in the next couple of weeks that will affect that renewal. And we're going to be pushing out all that information as soon as we gather it. And there will be obviously a vote needed for the insurance renewal come end of March. Pest control continues to work on a 3-day appointment. The new trash contract is working well. We've been replacing several dumpsters with Waste Connection. So if you have a rusted dumpster that, or there's some issues going on with it, please contact your CAM and we'll make sure we contact Waste Connections and get those swapped out. Landscaping, I'm going to kind of leave this to Ryan because I know he's going to come up and talk a little bit more in depth on that. I will mention that we were reviewing and hopefully extending the Down to Earth contracts in sections 2 and 4 next month, and that next month's membership meeting, so the board will be getting those for approval early March, and we'll be sending that out to the membership. And hopefully the palm and oak tree, the hardwood trimming contract gets approved today. We're really excited for that change in methodology on the trimming. We think it's going to add tremendous value and really improve the property, as well as save everybody collectively a bunch of money, and each individual association additional money is not having to do extra trimming on their oak trees. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan unless there's any questions for me first. The phone probably can't ask any questions. Good? I'll introduce Ryan Rourke, our landscape specialist with First Service Residential.
And while Ryan is walking up here, I would like to thank Ginger and the Land Trust, who actually ordered the mailbox for First Service. Yeah. And it was put in under the Land Trust by First Service, but it was the Land Trust to replace the mailbox, and First Service requested it because it was so rickety.
Yeah, it's a new post, it's 30, and it was on back order.
Yeah, but I wanted to thank the Land Trust for doing that work for you. You don't have to, you can if you want. Here. Yeah.
Just gentlemen.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Ryan Rourke. I'm the landscape specialist here for Kings Point, working for First Service and at the direction of the Federation Board. A little bit about myself and qualifiers before I begin. I've held multiple certifications in the green industry. Some of these include Landscape Industry Certified Manager, Landscape Industry Certified Lawn Care Manager, Certified Grounds Manager, Certified Landscape Irrigation Manager, International Society of Arborists Certified Municipal Specialist, Certified Snow Professional. I've held my applicator license across 12 states. This allowed me to apply herbicide, pesticide in multiple states. These licenses included turf and ornamental, right-of-way, aquatics, industrial pest, woodborne pest, structural pest, forestry, 5 different agricultural application license, mosquitoes, termites, nursery and greenhouse, as well as an instructor license. So I'm well versed in what should be done and how things should be applied across the country. I did get to work with individuals who actually wrote EPA law for applicators, learned a lot from them. I've been a member of several green industry associations. These include the National Association of Landscape Professionals, Snow and Ice Management Association, the Irrigation Association, the Indiana Nursery and Landscape Association, the Indiana Professional Lawn and Landscape Association, Midwest Regional Turf Foundation, Indiana Irrigation Contractors Council, Associated Landscape Contractors of Colorado, Colorado Arborists and Lawn Care Professionals, International Society of Arborists, Colorado Nursery Growers, International Association for Landscape Ecology, American Horticultural Society, and the National Recreation and Parks Association. So the green industry obviously is a huge passion of mine. I like to be outdoors. I like to see people be able to consume their outdoor space. That's what we consider it when you're outside and walking or just sitting and enjoying the outdoors. My education goes, I've got an associate's in horticulture from Indiana State University. I studied turfgrass science with Purdue University for 3.5 years. I moved before I finished my degree. A lot of that was a hands-on working in the field with plots of grass and things like that. So we did specialize in all forms of turf. My current certifications that I carry are Florida centralized, so I carry my FNGLA, which is the Florida Nursery Growers and Landscape Association. And I also am certified for GIBMP, which is Green Industry Best Management Practice here in Florida. I'm currently working towards gaining my landscapers inspector's certification for Florida here in the state. That way I am certified to do landscape inspections throughout the state if needed. My current responsibilities in Kings Point when I was first hired on were to oversee timeliness and contractual obligations by the vendors. As I've gone around, I've seen some quality issues that I've not seen addressed through other methods, and I've taken on the responsibility to myself to come through an audit association by association with a program called iAuditor. This allows me to basically score and grade our vendors on what I see throughout the associations. I'm looking at the associations as a broad overall. This program also allows me to take photographs and create basically a punch list of items that we notice and need to have attention drawn to by the vendors. So the vendors will get these reports as well. The POCs receive these reports when I finish them up. I do write detail in them. We also have a method that I'm using where if I come through an association and I see that it's just horrible, I do have a spreadsheet where I can go from address to address and outline everything I see in detail by address. Doing these inspections per association like this and this in depth does take me a while. My average time for each association currently is about 39 minutes to do a full audit in the associations. And that includes both the address by address detail and the iAuditor with the photographs and everything. I do care for this community. I enjoy being here. I do really enjoy working with everybody that I come into contact with. There are things that the residents notice and bring to my attention, and 9 times out of 10 I've already noticed it, and we're working on getting it addressed. We know that we have to push and get these vendors to deliver a product that meets our expectation, and I'm working with those vendors to kind of elevate that service for everybody out here. Like I said, I love the outdoors. I love green spaces and things like that, so I have a high expectation, and I expect that from my vendors as well. So we are working to help them elevate that type of service and deliver what we want out here. I do review contracts and things like that, and we are working to improve contracts as well. And that's pretty much what I'm doing here for Kings Point at the moment. And you know, those duties may expand based on what we see and what we see the need to be. Any questions from anybody?
You are available to meet with anyone at any time?
Yes, I will meet with anybody at any time, whether they're a POC or a resident. Usually when I'm out and walking the communities, residents will stop me and ask me who I am, and I'll introduce myself. And if they have questions, I'm more than happy to answer questions and help educate towards what the contract specifically has and what the vendor's scope of work is, and take any suggestions that they may have, because we want to find out, I want to find out from the community what they'd like to see and what they feel needs to be delivered here. You guys live here, we don't, so we want to make sure you guys enjoy the spaces. Sometimes there are challenges. We need to realize that sometimes the vendors are restricted by state laws as far as what kind of products they can put down, when they can put products down, things like that. And that does have an effect on the landscape as well. I mean, we can get into sciences of some things, but I think that gets a little too deep for some people sometimes. But if anybody's interested, I am always happy and always available to meet anytime.
I have a question. You said you do review contracts, and of course you have the landscape, all the contractors' contracts that you review. Do you have any special, any type of legal background or anything to help with contracts?
I did attend IU School of Law. I don't have a Juris Doctorate, but I did attend IU School of Law. My focus was corporate law.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. Very good, Ryan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, guys.
Ryan, I appreciate all the work that you have been doing and all the meetings you've held with the different associations when problems arise. So I appreciate your availability. For those of you who don't know, Ryan is here like at between 6:30 and 7 o'clock generally in the morning, driving through the community before the day even begins and before most residents are out of bed. And it is something that the Federation and all associations should appreciate, that we have a landscape specialist that puts so many hours of dedication into his job. So Ryan, thank you very much for all the work you do. And I know you keep after the landscapers and make sure that the community is improving and pointing out to them where they're failing. So thank you.
You are welcome, and it is my absolute pleasure.
Ginger, I'll turn the meeting over for you for the investor report.
I don't know if Keith was finishing that. Were you finished, Keith?
Yeah.
I wiped the chair.
All right, good morning to the membership and to the board and the folks in the room here. Belated Valentine's Day greetings. We'll get started with the management report for the trust operations. Clubhouse usage for January averaged about 725 visits to the clubhouses per day. The majority, 44%, was at the main clubhouse. That's a change from what I had told you before, because the South Club typically has the majority of the visits, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. That has to do with some change in the dining protocols at the South Club. So 44% was at the main clubhouse. Fitness usage, over 5,300 visits. That's an 18% increase over the prior month. Death taxes, and you can set your watch, but increased visits after the holidays to the fitness program. It's called New Year's resolutions. So 30% of those visits were at the South Club. The team has posted over 100 fitness videos since March 13th when we shut down for COVID, with over 7,700 viewers of that program. Still a nice amenity to offer that people can work out in the safety and privacy of their homes. And finally, in spa and salon usage for January, we had over $19,000 in services and merchandise sales, 3% less than the prior month when a lot of people get their services during the holiday month. On food and beverage, as I mentioned earlier, effective Friday, January 22nd, we did close the indoor dining down due to some COVID issues with problem staffing and also an increased cases that were noted down at the South Club. We did open up outdoor full-service dining at the South Club's Palm Court on Thursday, February 4th from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's supported by 2 outdoor dining areas for seating at the PC Cafe and also poolside. As a reminder, at the South Club, you must enter through the front main lobby doors, present your KP badge, have your temperature taken and scanned, and then you will be directed to, by the hostess to take your seat. And masks must be worn in all common areas inside the facilities. To dispel the rumor, the inside dining opening date has not yet been determined. We do hear from our residents a lot that it's going to be March 1st. That has not been determined yet. That is a rumor. We need to get through the second round of vaccines. We hope to get another pod in here after that when they lower the age restriction, hopefully for the 55 to 65 years old. But as soon as we discuss those openings for inside dining with the board, we will get out our communications to the community. On project updates, the 1904 erosion project has been completed, so Keith and his staff no longer feel like they're going to be falling into the pond. The portico roof project has been completed, the HVAC replacements installed and completed. The South Club and Main Clubhouse surveillance camera enhancement project is underway. The theater sound system project is in process and the bids are currently under review. Moisture intrusion testing has been completed and that document is still under review. The South Club locker room renovation project is 90% complete. The county has performed their first inspection and it passed with flying colors. Kudos to Victoria and her team for all the work they've done on all of these project updates. This is looking, people say, when are the locker rooms going to reopen? They're full speed ahead. They're changing out the countertops. We've got partition installations, tile, floors, paint, etc. They're bearing down on finishing. However, there will be another county inspection before they can reopen, but we're looking to reopen sometime in hopefully early March. But until the county, as they say, the fat lady sings, we can't open those up. So finally, the RFEC is reviewing the proposal to advance the re-roofing and repainting of the South Club forward a couple of months into this budget year. As you all were aware, on the board call, we did propose the project and the board approved it in concept. The RFEC is reviewing the bids now. They had a couple of questions, but we hope to formalize that and make it official in the March 5th board meeting. Somebody had an objection when I said we had a fourth bid enter. It wasn't past an RFP deadline by any means. It just came in later than the report we had to submit to the board to get it on the agenda. So there was no, I believe they said funny business going on. The board is aware of the timing of that. It just, we had to get a report together for the board and that came in just subsequent to me issuing the report. On tram services, we had over 1,700 miles driven by the team and with a total ridership of just shy of 1,500. In security operations, we had 10,600 phone calls at the front gate, which is a decrease over the prior month. Again, holidays bring in a lot more traffic there, so January declined some. We issued 13,242 passes. On notables, we had a resident call the front gate and notify the security team that her neighbor's door had been left open. The lights were on since the previous day, and his car wasn't there. So security advised to call the sheriff's department. They came out, they did a hunt and finally located the neighbor had driven himself to the hospital, and he wouldn't be back for a few days. Hillsborough County thoroughly inspected the home and secured the condo. So this is a great testament to our good neighbor policy and our community watch and letting us find out what's going on out there so we can check in on it. Lastly, on COVID operations, Vesta is planning for the second round of the COVID-19 vaccinations for the Kings Point community. The second round of doses will begin they will begin on February 23rd. The basic plan is if you came in on the first day of vaccines at 11 a.m., then you want to get the second dose on the same first day at 11 a.m. Make sure you bring your card with you and have your waiver filled out. The staff will ask you to put it on your dashboard. Matthew and his team have sent out multiple communications. I suspect there will be more coming, so keep an eye out for those. And please avoid the main clubhouse area next week, Tuesday through Friday, if possible. If you have to be here for a meeting or some other function at 2020 or wherever, remember there is only parking in the 2020 lot. There will be no parking in the main club parking lot or behind the clubhouse. Heed the direction of the traffic control as we seek to provide the second round in a safe and controlled manner. And I do want to note that we had some of our bestest staff over on the East Coast where DeSantis was being, Governor DeSantis was being interviewed. And he actually, we made the news there because he did talk about some of the more well-managed and controlled communities that they had pods in. Those are points of distribution. And they mentioned the Kings Point Sun City Center distribution program. So we're very proud of that. And that's my report.
Thank you, Ginger. We will go to the next item on the agenda, which is committee reports. Dave, do you have anything?
The committee has been active doing the down-to-earth contracts, and as Keith mentioned earlier, those will be presented next month for the review of the membership.
That's it?
That's it.
Noreen,
Yes,
please
I do.
speak up or come to the phone so people can hear you.
People wanted to know why the health and safety have not had reports. Well, because of COVID, our management companies have taken up the utmost measures in keeping our community safe. Emails have been sent out to our residents on a consistent basis from our management companies, keeping our residents apprised and with COVID updates, guidelines, and procedures in place. So therefore, there was nothing for the Health and Safety Committee to report. Thank you.
Ryan, do you have anything?
Just the SEC report, but that's on the agenda a little later.
Okay. Dan?
The Contracts Committee has nothing that's really new. There are two contracts we hope to have approved at this meeting, a website contract and a contract for a new home and tree service, as Director McGuire mentioned.
Dan, turn around so you're facing the camera.
As Director McGuire mentioned, we have the Section 2 and Section 4 landscaping contracts, which the Contract Committee has worked through and approved, so that will be moving forward, and that is all that the Contract Committee has at this time.
Rick?
The Community Promotions Committee continues to take on projects that we feel is good for the community. We recently established a Federation Real Estate Brokers group that we've been communicating with, and they've been particularly interested in what's been happening lately, and we've been able to give them whatever information we were authorized to give them. The website committee has spent a long time going over their works. It's been finally been approved, went through the legal counsel. Legal gave its blessing and made its corrections and additions, and we will present it today for approval. Thank you.
You don't have anything to do.
No, unless you want me to talk about that later. I have nothing.
Janice?
Once again, Keith made said it just right. The USI, our insurance agents, are busy trying to get the best bids that they can for our insurance. They will be at the board meeting on March 5th to give us just a 10-minute overview of what the market looks like at this time. So hopefully you all tune in for that.
Thank you, Janice. We will move to the President's report. The first thing on the President's report is the Federation Board last Monday gave a presentation on the 2017 finance loan. refinance of the loan. Since that time, people have contacted Vesta, inquiring about the loan, inquiring about their involvement. Vesta is a separate company from the finance company. They may be owned by the same entity, but they operate totally independent. Vesta Management, who manages the amenities within Kings Point, has been managing them since 2007 when the loan was done. They have adapted their business model to meet the requirements of Kings Point and the ever-changing environment and amenities. They are not associated in any way, shape, or form or controlled by or provide information to the trust company or, in that respect, to the finance company. So, folks, Vesta has performed a service within this community at the direction of the Federation Board. As I said, they've been here since 2007. Every board since 2007 has worked with Vesta, has renewed and put together a contract with Vesta for their management. In fact, just recently, this board completed an extension of the existing contract with Vesta. So it needs to be understood by this community and the residents within this community that Vesta works for the Land Trust and at the direction of the Federation Board. It has nothing to do with the finance company, and please refrain from trying to infer that Vesta in some way colludes with the Land Trust or has any input into the Land Trust. The Land Trust and the trustee for the Land Trust operate at the oversight of the Federation Board. And I know that Matt and Ginger both have received numerous emails and numerous calls. They've been called Vesta Finance and other things. They are not. I think Vesta has done an exceptional job in this community, whether it goes to the lawn bowling courts that have been installed, the pickleball courts that have been installed, the amenities, the way they are run. Please do not take any dissatisfaction you may have with the loan which Kings Point has and consider Vesta to have any involvement in that whatsoever. And I just wanted to take my time today to clarify that because I think it's unfair for everything that Vesta has done. Vesta has been, for this community, a moving force behind keeping us safe and healthy from the COVID pandemic, and also in obtaining for us and managing the vaccinations. Keep in mind everything that Vesta does for this community, from arranging meeting rooms to providing outdoor activities and facilities, and take into consideration that if you want to start blaming Vesta for a finance issue, that is not what they are here for. We are required through the lender to have a management company. When Vesta was established, it was from individuals, and Ginger, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was from individuals who were already in the community. I believe you worked here prior to 2007. So basically, Vesta Management for the properties basically was using previously employed individuals within the community for consistency in the management of those facilities. And I know nobody can see your head shaking, but that is correct, right? Okay, thank you. There has been another issue, and I am going to delegate part of the president's time to Keith Wilking from First Service to explain what occurred regarding a financial report that was sent out. The report is produced by First Service, and then if Alan, at that time, after Keith completes his presentation, if Alan Hahn would like to add it, I will more than glad give Alan the time to add it so we can take this issue and put it to bed. There was no malice, there was no intent to defraud or spend monies that were not involved. Mistakes are made every day in life. There's no one who has not made a mistake in their business world, in their business environment. And to condemn somebody who made a mistake, regardless of who that individual was, I think is inappropriate. And I will let Keith explain what happened and what has been done to replace it and repair it. So Keith, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you if you would like to address that particular issue.
Thank you. Well, part of my presentation will be turned over for one of our corporate representatives, but you know, we did send out a statement Thursday evening on the issue. So if anybody on the TV or in the room or anybody else has any questions after today's meeting, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to talk to anybody about it and help discuss it or clear it up any further. But today we brought in Matt Sluiser, who is the Director of Client Relations with our Client Accounting Department. And he is going to go a little bit over kind of what happened with the error and kind of just explain a little bit for you further. So here's Matt.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Morning. Morning.
I guess everyone's on mute. We also have Terry Hohenstein on the line. She's a CPA and she's our Senior Director of Client Reporting, but she's listening in. Last week we were notified that there was a technical bug with one of our accounting reports, the general ledger report in particular, and that issue is causing several transactions to show an incorrect description. So basically I was just pulling the wrong description. We've reviewed all those transactions, pulled invoices, compared other reports, our accounting data. Those are all valid expenses or authorized transactions. I'm happy to report that our data and systems team, they've done a thorough review. They've discovered what was causing the bug. They fixed the issue. Those reports are now pulling the correct descriptions. So all of the reports are accurate now. I certainly understand the concern that could cause, seeing transactions with different descriptions than what they truly were, but that has been fixed. I apologize for any confusion or concern that that's caused, and just want to open it up if there's any questions. Okay.
Well, actually, I'm going to ask, could you give just an example, so to clarify what you mean by description and how it was reported versus how it should have been reported?
So, well, just to briefly touch on the issue, pretty much there's a global vendor list that we have, and the system maps where a certain transaction for, say, waste management will pull from that global list. The bug caused the order of that vendor list to get mixed up. So, an example of that was IPFS, Insurance Premium Financing. There was a ACH payment to them of $288,287.78, which the insurance payment, that's a valid expense. On this general ledger report, it pulled a complete different vendor description, so it showed as Rescue One Fire Inc., which for a fire extinguisher inspection. So obviously, the association's not spending $300,000 on fire extinguisher inspections. That was just a complete wrong mapping of the description. So it was a completely random description that pulled into that report. So as I mentioned, that's been fixed. So now if we run that report, it's pulling the correct insurance financing for that transaction.
Can you tell us why it happened at this time?
We have some system enhancements they're going through. We're making some improvements to our accounting system. So they pushed a system enhancement, and that enhancement, there was a bug with that particular report.
So the programming made a mistake and shifted
Correct.
files and
There was an error in the mapping.
Mr. President, I have a question. This is Jane Harden, and
Yes?
if this is pulling different information, isn't it inexcusable that a report is run by First Service and handed out as official documents by our board, and nobody is looking at these reports before they're handed out as official documents?
I will let
And the
Keith,
second question is, if we have a contract that pays the same amount for 12 months, and it pays correctly in April, why does it pay a different vendor in May? This is an ACH program. It shouldn't be pulling different vendors.
I could address that. So the money went to the correct vendor. It's just that the description in the report pulled incorrectly. As far as the report getting released, you know, I certainly apologize for that. It's not a widely used report, for one, but of course the on-site team here that's running that report, who could assume that there's some kind of a bug that's causing descriptions to pull through incorrectly? I mean, that's typically not something that they would look at line by line to verify that the information's pulling correctly. That's an assumption that the information is correct. You know, it's not part of our process of reconciling the bank accounts and reviewing invoices, and all of that was accurate, and all of our trigger points of reconciling this information didn't pick this up because all the other information was correct. It's just this one report that had a bug. But as I mentioned, that has been corrected. The information's pulling correct, and it's my understanding the statement that went out had a comparison so you could see what the accurate descriptions were for those transactions.
as I understand it, this report
Thank
was
you, I
100.
understand that. However, I guess my question is, how do we trust reports? You know, if they're not reviewed by anybody. I got page 7 on that report, and I noticed vendors I never heard of.
Well, I'm sure that Keith could speak to this, but certainly before any reports are released, we'll do a better job of reviewing them. And all the widely used reports, those get reconciled by a financial reporting accountant each month. So we review that to verify that the information's accurate.
if you want to let Keith, he will respond to the question on that.
Okay.
One other question. Do you use a sandbox or anything when you're making changes in your system to test it before you go live with it?
Yes, they use a testing area. It's just that this particular bug didn't come out in the testing.
Keith, will you address the first portion of the question?
Just
And then I'll
really,
let
I
Ann.
think they pretty much got the answer, so. You want to just let Alan, he answer it?
Yep.
Okay.
Just answer why it wasn't checked.
Anything else for me?
I think you're okay.
Thank you,
Okay,
everybody.
did you get your first question answered, Jane?
Go ahead,
Yes, thank you.
Okay. That's it, it is a report that's not frequently run. And once you're inside that association pulling that data, you're not, again, the assumption is you're not gonna be, having errors in the descriptions. When our on-site team does the reconciliation and, we see the bank statements with the clear checks to those proper vendors, that's the checks and balances on our side, that we're making sure the AP voucher and the check registers show the proper information. And again, we have, those clear checks on the bank statements that show those large payments to the proper vendor. So that's, again, without getting to the exact mapping error, that was something that just pulls wrong information, and the vast majority of those descriptions were correct in that large report that was sent out. I think Alan Hahn wanted to say something as well. So.
Yes, I just want to respond, Jane. As you know, because you work in the accounting field, back in 1970s, when we issued reports by typewriter manually, we did review very closely things to make sure things are accurate. Of course, today with computers, the report you requested was a computerized report listing all of that. It's over 100 pages. I don't think anyone would expect anybody to have to read every single item and see whether it's, and validate whether it's correct or not. What was changed on the computer system was the reporting format, as you know. And as you know, checks are put into the system, checks are produced, and then the reports are made. You requested the report, over 100 pages, to better understand how the Federation monies are spent in order to better respond to resident questions. Now, I would have assumed, I would have assumed that if you found out of 100 pages, 20 items with strange descriptions, you would have questioned me first in order to get a response, in order to understand it, or so you can better respond to your resident questions. I think your procedure is more like ready, fire, aim, instead of really trying to understand what was going on. Certainly, the items are accurate. So, I'm sorry?
I'd like to respond to that, Alan.
Sure.
If First Service is monitoring the computer report, and the treasurer of the Federation is not monitoring the computer reports that are handed out as official documents to presidents, I feel I had a responsibility to report this to the president, to tell them we have a problem here. Nobody is watching over $30 million of our money being processed every year. Who is watching the money?
Yeah, I think you're
that just proves that this was a gross, inexcusable oversight.
Well, I think your characterization is very incorrect. Everything is done correctly. This was a minor reporting issue that was corrected, that was found and corrected. That's all I can
It
say.
didn't affect the financials anyway.
It didn't affect any of the bills at all.
Keith, did you just address the
Again-
reconciliation?
Again, the reconciliation process is the checks and balances, Jane. That is being done, and that is reviewed by Alan. Our on-site team and our corporate team reviews those bank transactions each month. The information you got in that report is a report. The actual true transactions to conduct the business were done properly and correctly. And again, we have that information and that proof that it was done correctly. We could share that. I think Alan's point was that if you had questions, or a concern like that, definitely bring it back, to Alan or to me or to First Service. I think we've been pretty open and honest and helpful with any situation. And we just appreciate that to help everybody understand that versus kind of how it was presented and sent out to the community.
Okay, am I getting a corrected report?
We can send you one, yes.
Thank you.
Did we charge her?
Didn't we send one?
Then there will be no, would you tell her there'd be no charge for the report? Would you tell her there'd be no charge for the second
Yeah,
report?
just, Jane, I'll send it to you. There's obviously no charge. Is an email fine, email format? Or do you want a hard copy?
Doesn't matter either way.
With that, I will turn the meeting over to Ryan Setzer, who is chairman of the Special Elections Committee, who will yes?
I have a question.
Yes?
Can I ask you, wait, you had some information about the presentation on February 2nd. I had a question about that, but I couldn't seem to get in. Can I ask that question now?
No, if you want to ask it in open forum, we'll be glad to attempt to answer that question in open forum. Or you can send your question to Ma Bell and will be answered, but let's stick with the agenda, which is the introduction of the candidates. Then we can go into open forum, which allows 3 minutes of questioning. It's generally just supposed to be on the business items, but I'd be more than glad to entertain your question if you just hold it for a few moments.
I sure will, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Ryan Setzer, I'm the chairperson of the Standing Election Committee, and the Standing Election Committee held an open meeting on Thursday, February 12, 2021 at 2 p.m. in the North Forum 2020 building and certified the candidates who submitted a notice of intent to run for the 2021 Federation Board of Directors. The results are as follows. District 2, Rick Massame. He will be running unopposed. District 3, Tom Ricketts from Gloucester E. He'll be running unopposed. District 4 is Dan Hector from Highgate 4. He'll be running unopposed. From District 5, Jack Davison from Tremont 1. He'll be running unopposed. In District 6, there are 2 candidates. David McGraw from Manchester 2 and Barbara Sauvé, correct? Sauvé, thank you. From Nantucket 2. And then there is an election required for that position. And in District 8, Liz Argott from Grantham is running unopposed. Since the number of openings exceed the number of candidates that applied, 1 opening per district, an election is required in District 6. A second notice and ballot will be mailed to all owners by March 5th, 2021. District 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8 are unopposed, so no other mailings will be sent out. We are hosting a Meet the Federation Candidates meeting on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2021 at 2 p.m. in the Veterans Theater. I'd invite everybody that want to go, and there is a first-come, first-served basis. Is that correct, Jack?
They'll have to make reservations.
Make reservations.
And that will be set up by Ma Bell.
Very good, thank you.
Tuesday, sorry. It's Tuesday, sir.
I'm sorry?
Tuesday.
What's this?
Sorry, I made them Tuesday.
I apologize, it's Tuesday, March 2nd. Thank you. The owners are to submit their ballots by mail or personally deliver it to First Service Residential Office by 5 p.m. on Monday, March 22nd, 2021. The SEC will open and count the ballots at an open meeting on Thursday, March 25th at 1:30 p.m. in the culinary room of the 2020 building. The voting results will be announced at the Federation's annual meeting on March 26th at 9:30 via conference call. Mr. President, that is the report from the SEC.
Mr. President, this is David Wetmore, KD2. I have a question.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Federal bylaws, Article 5, Section 5A. The term of office for a director position shall be 2 years commencing with annual meeting. In no event shall a director serve more than 4 consecutive years in a position, combined positions of the Federation Board. If a director conservatively serves 2 full or partial terms in any position, combination of this position, he or she shall be required to take 1 2-year hiatus prior to being eligible to serve on the Federation Board again. For the purpose of this section, 1 day of any term constitutes partial service of a director's term. Given the above, why are Rick Mansfield and Dave McGraw certified to run on the Federation election that is open, that is coming up?
You want me to answer it, Ryan?
Feel free.
Both of those individuals were appointed to fill out a term that was less than 1 year. And they, according to the council's reading, legal counsel's reading of our bylaws, are entitled to run and be elected for 2 full terms in addition to whatever they were appointed to. If the appointment and what it is, if you have an appointment that would cover a term of greater than a year, then an election would be required to be held. But that is a determination, by legal.
Why does the bylaw say that 1 day constitutes a partial use or partial?
I can only tell you, Mr. Wetmore, I can only tell you what our counsel advised, and he advised if a person is appointed to fill out a term, and I do not happen to have the bylaws in front of me, but his interpretation is that a person has a right to run for 2 two-year terms, even though he is not. If he is elected to a partial term, then that is an election, and he has a right to be able to, that would be a 1 day, 6 day, whatever day, that would be considered part because he was elected to the term. They consider it a matter of election, and neither Dave nor
All right, let me finish. It does not say elected, it says served. If he serves 1 day, it's considered a partial. And these 2 gentlemen, they're fine gentlemen, but they have served a partial and then a complete. So they are not eligible by your own bylaw.
That is your interpretation of bylaws. It is not legal counsel's interpretation of bylaws, and we will follow our counsel's guidance in those bylaws.
That's very interesting.
Okay. We're going to give each candidate an opportunity to have 3 minutes to discuss and present themselves to the community, so we get to know them and their goals and their thoughts. So we'll start with Rick Massamay from Gloucester B. 3 minutes, sir.
If you want all 3.
Good morning, District 2. There's 2 reasons a candidate runs unopposed. And the first reason is because nobody else has any interest in it. And the second reason is because the rest of the group feels that your present individual is doing a good enough job that no one has to run opposed against him. In my position, I'm hoping it's the latter rather than the first. I want to thank all the people in my district. I have noted in the last 2 years, by communicating with you all, the attendance at meetings has increased. I wish to continue that, and as you know, I'm always available, so please call at any time or send me an email. Be glad to meet with you and discuss any problems you may have. Remember though, you are in individual associations. You are the boss of your associations. All we can do is help and guide. The decisions are yours. So please, if you need any of that, call me like you have in the past. Thank you. Less than 3 minutes.
1 minute and 5 seconds.
Thank you, Rick. And the next person will be Tom Ricketts from Gloucester E.
Hi, my name's Tom Ricketts. I will be your representative in District 3 on the Federation Board. A little background on me. Graduated from Michigan State University with a Bachelor of Science degree specializing in the packaging engineering area. Been married for 32 years to the same beautiful woman. First purchased in Kings Point in 2011. We moved here in 2016. Since that time, I started out, I became a POC in my association. From there, became a president of my association. I've been on the Land and Lawnscape Committee for approximately 2.5 years, and I'm also a current member of the RFEC Executive Committee. My background, and through all this development, I've learned how Kings Point is designed to work. And as an engineer, how it's designed is how to go. I'm very level-headed. I like to take in a lot of information before I make a decision on anything. And I look forward to hearing from the District 3 residents to let me know what they are expecting from me. Thank you very much.
The next candidate will be Dan Hector from Highgate 4.
Good morning, I'm Dan Hector. I'm not a politician. Those of you who know me know that I don't do a whole lot of talking and such. I have a master's degree in global organizational development. My background is in accounting and contracts and legal, auditing, things of that nature. I've worked real hard over the last couple of years in learning about Kings Point. This is my 4th year living here. We have worked very, very hard to improve Kings Point over the last 2 years in terms of operations and such. I am the director that's responsible for financial oversight of the land trust. I am co-chair of the finance committee. I am chair of the contracts committee. I spent my first year as a part of the insurance committee. So I have a well-rounded education in how things operate here. Over the past 2 years, this board has been able to save the community multiple millions of dollars. And we hope to continue to be able to do that. And I'm going to continue to do my best to serve the community in the best capacity that I can.
Thank you, Dan. Our next candidate is Jack Davidson from Tremont 1. That will be District 5.
Most of you know me, seeing during my first 2-year term on the board, served as Vice President under Ryan, which I appreciate the time and effort you put into providing me with education. The 2nd year as President, with full support of the board. I can tell you that, as Dan Hector mentioned, we feel we have accomplished a lot in savings, a lot in procedures, specifically with First Service, and making First Service basically step up to the point and manage the company that we have contracts with, and also with the land trust and working with Ginger and setting down some parameters that were not in existence before, such as approval of contracts, review of bids, things such as that. We feel we have a very good relationship, but this board has been a group of 9 individuals that have worked together, not led by one, but led by all. And I wanted to run in order to continue that and allow the board to finish its work in many areas and many responsibilities. But as one of the board members said, a funny thing happened along the way to the forum is we all bonded. And you have a board that really cares about this community and works towards this community. I want to continue to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
1 minute and 43 seconds.
I wasn't trying to beat you, Rick.
Competitive, are we?
You still have the shortest speech.
All right, thank you. The next district is District 6. There are 2 candidates. The first we will meet is Dave McGraw from Manchester 2.
My name's Dave McGraw, and I'm from Manchester 2. I've been on POC for Manchester 2 for 6 years, and I do understand the day-to-day landscaping issues that cover the community. My background, I have an undergraduate degree in business and an MBA from the University of Detroit. Tom, I'm an avid Michigan fan, so...
Yeah, well, you know, I feel sorry for you.
With that background, one of my first jobs, I went to Rockwell International, was a financial analyst for them for quite a few years. And actually, this is a long time ago because it really predates RFP, the process. We used to just call it projects. But I'm very familiar with RFP processes through my career. And when I came in here, one of the first things I dove into was landscape contracts. So I have that background, I understand it, and I think I've been contributing quite well to the community with that. Also in my career, after being a financial analyst, I went into management. And the pertinent part of what a lot of my management was is I typically ended up being the person they came to when there was something a fire to be put out. And I don't know why, but one of the companies I worked for, my nickname was Radar from MASH, because the president would always come to me and say, you know, I got a problem, what do we do here? But I grow in that environment, I like it, and a lot of the jobs I've taken over the years, I've walked into really bad situations and turned them around. I enjoy that type of thing. How does that apply to what we have here? Well, very specifically, the landscape contracts, I was asked to be part of that, and it's the most visible thing in our community. And I'm going to go back a couple of years here, but back in 2017, 2016, we had Mainscape in here, which was a fiasco. And I'm only going to concentrate on the work order system. But if we remember, in this room, we would have landscape contract meetings every month, and it was next to chaos. At one of those meetings, I asked, well, how many work orders are you putting into the system for a service? And they said 1,000 work orders, which is unbelievable. But if we remember how chaotic it was back then, half of those work orders were probably for irrigation, and maybe half of them were for just regular landscape. But, okay, let's hop up to today. In the report that we did today, Keith, we do a chart now. I don't have it with me, but we do a chart. We had 10 work orders this last month. 6 of those were not related to actual work in the field. So over the course of 4 years, we've gone from 1,000 work orders a month, which weren't getting completed, down to 3 this month. I think you see a lot of improvement. That's because, and I'll put Tom in this, the landscape committee got involved early on and said we need a work order system that actually does something and holds people accountable. Through my career, if you put statistics out and you start tracking stuff, people will realize that they're accountable. And we've done that with the work orders. We're doing it, as Keith and Ryan explained, with the audit program they're putting in. We want to hold people accountable when they know we're looking at them.
Time.
They improve. Sorry.
He took your time.
Not even close to Rick. He's not your competition, Rick. All right, thank you. The next candidate for District 6 would be Barbara Sauvé from Manchester, Nantucket 2.
I'm here to verify the rumor. I am Barbara Sauvé, and I am a board member and POC of the Nantucket 2 Condo Association. I have enjoyed my 12 years here in Kings Point and plan on making it my home for the next 30. That could be a little ambitious, but hope springs eternal. Over the years, I've attended the vast majority of the meetings and recently participated on the governance committee. So I'm very familiar with the responsibilities of both boards. I still found myself in awe of our lifestyle here in Kings Point and of our facilities. To preserve that, we really do need an engaged membership. I look forward to having the opportunity to engage District 6 via district meetings that are common to all other districts. I hope to further engage with the membership by offering more background information, enabling everyone to be informed on voting for their contracts, and they are their contracts. Perhaps this might even lead to greater participation, I hope. We keep in mind that the volunteers do have plenty of responsibilities, and I do realize that armchair quarterbacking is enormously more fun. But the staff, we do have paid management professional services, and the staff has the appropriate credentials, and optimally they should be a backstop to the volunteers. To ensure that they live up to their obligations is the board's obligation, and as well for the membership as a whole. Kings Point is unique. Over the last few decades, I have lived in so many places throughout the state of Florida. What we have here is so special. I am proud of the board and what I have accomplished in our association. And with your help, I hope to have the opportunity to say about that of my term on the Federation Board. And a little footnote, as you're probably aware now, I'm not exactly an expert on public speaking. I do write one heck of a letter, but I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Shortest?
Nope. 2:28.
Oh, that's right.
Mid-range.
Okay.
Mid-range.
All right, and for District 8, Liz Argot from Grantham, we are next candidate to speak.
Last but not least, or something like that?
Something like that.
Okay. Hi, I'm Liz Argot from Grantham Association. And although I was born and raised in New Jersey, I'm a 45+ years Floridian. Retiring in 2004, I moved to Kings Point and became a full-time resident. My 4 children and their families all live in the South, 1 in Georgia and 3 in Florida. Professionally, I worked for the Hillsborough County School District for 30 years, 25 years as a district-level administrator. Organizing, chairing, and participating on committees, interacting and working with people, problem solving, and budget oversight were among my many responsibilities. Some of my strengths include proactive thinking, being open-minded, decision-making based on fact, and approaching issues with a broad perspective. Upon moving to Kings Point, I became actively involved in our community, volunteering for Samaritan Services, a member of the Lawn Landscape Committee in Kings Point, supporting Grantham Association as a board member, and currently serving as a board president. I firmly believe it is important that our district be represented by someone who is an owner, resident in District 8. Excuse me. As Kings Point, almost 50 years after that first shovel dug into the ground in the area we know today as Andover, has evolved into a community far greater than anticipated in 1972. Emerging from this evolution, we see an active, health-conscious community. However, over time, one thing has not changed: the culture of Kings Point, the reason why we all live here. There are several things that are critical to the continued success of Kings Point, and my experiences, familiarity with Kings Point, and leadership skills are geared to address these. Governance. All entities must work together. As a footnote, before I even thought about putting my name in this spot, I had submitted a volunteer application to the Master Board to be considered for their planning committee. What a great way to put cooperative spirit into action. Also, monitoring contracts and community services is critical. The enhancement of amenities and activities to meet the expectations of current residents and prospective buyers through ongoing marketing of Kings Point and monitoring annual membership fees. I believe this can be achieved with a strong, proactive board, a cooperative liaison with all entities in Kings Point, implementation of comprehensive community plans, both long and short term, and most importantly of all, the support of all of our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
That is the candidates for this year. 5 of them are unopposed. 1 election in District 6. So be on the lookout for the mailing that will be coming. Fill out your ballots, cast it properly, cast it soon, and we will have another great year as a board in Kings Point. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. Now we'll move to open forum, and there was a gentleman that had a question that related to last Monday's presentation, and I asked you to hold your question. Could you let me know what your question is now, and we'll attempt to answer it?
Identify yourself.
I certainly will. This is Bill Piper from I-Gate 2.
Yes.
And I did a presentation on Monday, and I wanted to know if the information contained in that presentation was verified.
What do you mean if it was verified?
Well, did you make sure that it was correct, accurate?
To the best of our ability, yes, we made sure that it was accurate. We reviewed tapes. Our attorney reviewed documents. Our attorney spoke with, excuse me, banks, with Bank America, with finance company, with other individuals. So to the best of our ability, from our Holland and Knight, the information contained in our slide presentation was accurate.
Okay, so you and the board stand behind that information 100%?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good time.
Okay, is there any other comments related to the new business?
I have a question.
Yes, could you identify yourself?
I have a question.
Yes, could you identify yourself?
Okay. Dan Page, treasurer of the NWT.
Yes, Dan.
Hello?
Yes,
I'd
Dan.
like to know if that presentation will be shown again and if transcript of the discussion is available to anyone.
This PowerPoint presentation is available to any owner within Kings Point. All they have to do is send an email to Ma Bell, and she will send out a PDF of the presentation, and the actual video of the presentation is played on channel 732 at 3 p.m. and at 7:30 p.m. Every day. So you can go and re-watch that if you want to.
I sent an email to her and she said she didn't know.
And we obtained information from council on that presentation. And in fact, last evening at approximately 5 minutes to 5, before Ma Bell went home, I said, if you get any emails, and please go back to the previous emails, we will send out copies of that presentation, and we will do it at no cost to the residents, and you do not need to fill out a form. We have made the determination, if someone wants a list of who was the directors at that time, which we've had a number of requests, or if someone wants a PDF copy of the presentation, we will send it. You do not need any longer to fill out a form for that request. All you have to do is send an email to Ma Bell and ask for that information, and she will send it right out to you. Correct, Ma Bell? Thank you.
It's also on TV. Sorry, I need to ask.
I did, I said it's not.
Thank you, Ken.
It's on 7:32.
Thank you, Dan.
You're very welcome, Dan.
In addition,
Can I have a question?
Yes.
In addition, the slide was added to the presentation with an email address if they have questions or.
I know, but most people know how to get a hold of my about, so.
Well, but it's on the presentation.
What is your question? And then could you identify yourself?
Yes, this is Jill Clay, Highgate C president. I just want to know, I know you've told us a couple times, Jack, but what is the amount of money that was spent on that investigation with that legal firm?
Approximately, maybe Alan knows it better, it's approximately $60-some thousand. You have to remember that the land trust loan documents, the land trust agreement, having to review 2007, 2013, and 2017, those books, I know at least for 2017 is like 4 inches thick of paper. And if you expect an attorney to be able to give you guidance in the investigation, they have to read all those documents. So there was a considerable amount of money and time spent.
I'm not disagreeing with any need or anything, I just look at the dollar amount.
I believe it was about $60,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any comments on the new business? I do, and I would just, it's basically on item B, which is Brown's Tree Service contract. This issue was basically started under the auspices of Bill Robb, who was a former director and had to resign due to family issues. He came to the board after numerous meetings with his committee into a different manner of trimming the hardwoods and the palms, to do a much more thorough trimming of the hardwoods, which are the oak trees, and the palm trees, to have them trimmed once a year, and then have monthly maintenance for the entire community done on the palm trees. It was what the committee recommended to him. The board listened to that recommendation. We turned it over to First Service to speak to Grow, to ask Grow if they would be willing to work on it and be able to change what is currently in the contract. Grow said, yes, we could do it. It would be better for us to have the trees trimmed once a year and then maintained on a monthly basis, and also do a thorough cleaning of the oak trees. However, their price was exorbitant for a modification of the contract. It was taken out for competitive bids. Those bids were reviewed. Unfortunately, Doug Bergmoser came into the Federation replacing Bill Robb. He was only here for approximately a month and a half. Excuse me. He had to leave. At his determination, he resigned from the board. And basically, in order for us to have terminated the Grow contract before it got too far along, because we have a 60-day requirement which we can terminate that contract, we had to kind of push to get Brown Tree out. And I appreciate the effort that was made by Keith and Dan Hector on reviewing the contract and make sure that it covered the necessary requirements to ensure that it was done according to Florida standards, University of Florida standards. And I just wanted to mention that as why we were looking at doing a new contract. It was basically at the urging of the committee and the head of the committee, who was a director at that time. And Keith, I'd like to thank you for all the hard work you put into it. But basically, it was the community that wanted the trees maintained on a monthly type basis.
and it was at the recommendation of that committee and of the board to go ahead and proceed, and that's what I want. So we will go ahead with the approval or disapproval of the J2 Studio new web contract. Do you have anything you want to say on that, Rick, seeing that was...
No, just to show that the pending approval and modifications have been approved and returned by the attorney, and therefore I'd like to make a motion that it be approved.
Okay. The contract was sent out earlier this week as soon as we got it back from the attorney. So, Mabel, I'll turn it over to you, and you can give us the vote that was proxy to us. The only one you'd have to add is Mr. Ricketts, who's in the room. And you want to tell us how your association would vote, Mr. Ricketts?
I can tell you now, if you'd like it now, or do you want it to wait at the proper time?
I can't hear you, Tom.
Yes,
I can let you know now, or I
Yes,
can wait
I need to
until...
know now.
I need to input it.
I would, my association will approve it.
Okay, so would you add it to your thing?
So if you can add Gloucester A, Gloucester E.
Gloucester E.
Gloucester E.
Votes yes.
You just want me to give the percentage, or do you want me to go one by one, or you want me to tell the associations who voted no and who abstained?
I would, I mean, it's getting late, so I would prefer you just tell us the no's and who abstained.
Okay. Mr. President, I have 82.2% voted yes for the J2 contract with 64 associations. And I have 17.8% voted no with 12 associations. And the associations that abstains are Dorchester A and Gloucester L. Associations who voted no: Andover B, Andover D, Andover E, Bedford C, correct? Bedford E. Sorry, I missed Acadia 2 as well. Sorry, I jumped in. It came in late. So Acadia 2, Nantucket 2. Sorry, it's not in order because it came in how the proxy came in. Nantucket 2 and Nantucket 3 voted no. Highgate 2. Gloucester A. Kensington. And Manchester 2. Those are the associations who voted no. So again, sir, it passed with 82.2%.
Okay, thank you. Don't go nowhere.
Oh.
The second new business was the approval of the brown tree, and the only person who really worked on it from a director perspective is Dave. Do you want to make any comment on it?
Sure. I personally am really happy with this new contract because it does give us 12-month coverage. And I know that there were some communities that were actually going to work on their own to try to come up with a formula to do the work in between the trimmings. But I'm very pleased that we can offer this to the community, and we thank the committee that worked for all their input on it, and I think it's going to be really good for the community.
Keith, did you want to say anything regarding brown?
No, we're very happy with it.
Okay, then you want to give us the no's and the abstains.
Yes.
Do you want to take, do you want to take Tom's vote for this one?
Yes.
And your vote on brown tree?
Gloucester E will approve.
So Gloucester E is...
Mr. President, I move that the amended Browns tree service contract be approved by membership.
Okay, Mr. President.
For a second.
Second.
Go ahead. Okay, Mr. President, I have 86.1% voted yes with 70 associations and 13.9% voted no 6 associations that voted no. And 2 associations that abstained, which are Andover H and Grantham. No. Associations that voted no are Nantucket 2. Again, I'm sorry if it's not in alphabetical order.
Okay.
Nantucket 2 and 3. Highgate 2. Kensington. Manchester 2. And Jameson. Again, sir, the motion passed with 86.1% with 70 associations.
Thank you. That ends our new business. Be glad to open the meeting up for good and welfare comments. Does anybody have any good and welfare comments? This is just a reminder that, and Matt is sitting in the room, so hopefully he'll be shaking his head, that we do expect the vaccination second shots to start next Tuesday. We've heard nothing to the contrary that they will not start. And basically you would follow the same schedule that you used for your first shot. So whatever day of the week or whatever time you previously had is the same time that you would attend. And if you had a problem, they would call the reservation line and let the reservation line know that they had a problem, and you guys will work with them to resolve that particular.
Yeah, the reservation line is closed, so we've accommodated the folks we need to. Everybody's in their time zone.
Vicki. So if you hear anything else, I mean, if somebody
I
has
have a
another.
comment.
I know, can you wait one moment? So if anybody has an issue, they will contact you.
Yes, but we're not encouraging it.
Okay. Yes, who had a comment?
Yes, this is Computer Around Manchester 2. I just have a comment to make about the tree contract.
Well, Susan, I hate to interrupt you, but the time for those comments were under open forum or during the vote or prior to the vote of the Brown and Tree contract. This is for good and welfare. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but the Brown and Tree contract has been voted upon, it has been discussed, and it was available for open forum to discuss. So I have to limit these comments.
We got done with the voting.
No, we had open forum.
I did not hear that.
Well, we had open forum, I'm sorry, but we are in good and welfare, Susan, and the contract has already been voted and approved.
I wish we can get back to regular meetings.
I understand that, but the people should be aware that we, as a committee, were not allowed to see the bids. We were not involved in the companies that were brought in for the tree trimming. So we only had the one meeting, and we were not privy to any of the bidding process. I just want the community to know that. As a committee, we were not involved. I understand the changes with the board, but we still have the courtesy to know who the bidders were and put our input in. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Is there any other good and welfare comments?
And who's saying they had multiple meetings?
Yes, Vicki, are you the one who's saying? Vicki, is that you?
I'm trying.
Okay, go ahead,
Yes, it
Vicki.
is.
Go ahead, Vicki.
Thank you so much. I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention that on Thursday, February 25th, there is going to be a golf cart parade to say thank you to all the hardworking staff and volunteers with Vesta for the vaccine rollout. They're meeting at, if you have a golf cart, they are meeting at 3:30 p.m. at Falcon Watch. They'll be going around the back way to come to the North Club. So they're asking for people to, you can sign up on the group, on the Facebook group, King Point SBC Fun and Entertainment page.
Lucy Malicus is trying to keep track of how many golf carts we're going to have and how many people are going to participate. But if you can decorate your golf cart and give them a big shout out and thank you for all the hard work that they've done, we'd appreciate the support.
And Vicki, I would just add to your comments that a number of the state employees that actually are giving the shots and the National Guard folks are from out of town. And I will tell you that the community was highly regarded by the individuals who worked on it, and I think it is a very big thing that this community is attempting to thank them in that manner. And I know that conversations have been held with Vesta. That is why the golf cart parade request was to come through Cambridge and through the back so it didn't interflow the traffic entering off of Kings Boulevard. And Vicki, thank you for bringing it to the attention, but these folks deserve our undying gratitude for the attitude they brought to the Kings Point. But Kings Point owes themselves a pat on the back for the manner in which we did. Ginger was very slight in her appraisal of Kings Point. The state, and specifically the Office of Emergency Management Budget, was highly pleased with the effort that Kings Point put out. We truly were one of the best vaccination sites that served them, and we are looking forward to being able to work with the state once they go to 55 and over or change their criteria of who can get them. And a lot of that credit and dedication and effort goes both to the emergency squad and to Matt Vermouth for all the work that Matt put into this. And I appreciate the efforts to congratulate and thank these people through a golf cart parade. So thank you for bringing that up, Vicki. I appreciate it. Any comments?
Yes, this is Laura Koblicker, Vice President of Manchester Board.
Yes.
I would just like to say thank you to Ryan Rourke. He has done an amazing job of just being out there in the community and really helping us with our landscaping issues and tree issues. So
I appreciate that.
For services, and I just thank you.
I appreciate that. Keith is here. Unfortunately, Ryan has already left the meeting, but I'm sure, Keith, you will pass along from Manchester 4 their appreciation for all the work he has done, and thank you for speaking so highly of Ryan. He is doing a bang-up job for this community. We are fortunate to have him.
We really are. We are. Thank you.
Any more good and welfare? Then hearing no other good and welfare, Janice, you have all the proxies. Do you need the meeting, move the meeting be adjourned?
I do.
Okay, and I assume with the proxies, you vote to adjourn the meeting.
I vote to adjourn the meeting.
Then the meeting is adjourned. Thank you for all who attended.